gotta go consecutive, like this, 20 times. Anytime, coach.
20 times, 25 seconds. Ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
Moving on to the next slide. So that was just a short presentation of what I did during the month. We'll move forward and show you guys some of the frequently asked questions from the coaches and teachers. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, what if I'm unable to perform the drills due to the limitation? It can be physical limitation or limitation on the venues. So certain things that we heard from the coaches is that what if the coaches doesn't have a handphone or they do not have data? How are they going to run the drills? And what if they do not know how to use Zoom and stuff? So one of the things that we actually advise, right, is for the coaches to have conversation with your teachers, so to understand how you can actually run it, maybe in school, or you can, work on getting help from your friends or whatnot. People like me, I'm here today to do some sharing with you guys, so that I can help you out. So we also have, what if the student do not have the technology to do so? They do not have the handphone or laptop. Is there something that the school can do to help the students get things they need to execute the ECCA? So these are some of the things that we are looking into. Okay, and what if the students are without equipments? I think this is also things that the school must make arrangement with the students, whether to loan or they can do the CCA in schools, or the coach are not available, they will be doing the ECCA with them. Okay, and of course in the next video, right, I'll show you what the coach can actually do if they cannot do the drills. They can learn how to do some video editing in advance and share it with the teachers so it can be played during the ECCA.
So first, go to the App Store, download any video application that you like. For me, I personally like InShots. Now you can select one or multiple videos to edit. So I'll select one of them. So what's going to happen next? I'm going to click on text, and I can write down any details or things that can help me tell the story of what I'm doing in the videos. Click on the color, and you can select any color to what you want, and then click on the double A to select the fonts that you want to use on your video. So you can click on the drag button to select how long you want the words to be there for. So you can create a transition in between your videos so they know they're going to do the next section and it will look way cooler. So if I want to do multiple video editing, all I need to do is click on the plus sign to add any videos or photos into my current video, and I can start editing from there again. Now for me, next is the most important thing. Click on the music sign. You can record over whatever music that you want to make the video more entertaining.
Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So I think during this period, it's important for the coaches to also, you can upgrade yourself by picking up skills. So if you have any question that you want to ask me on how to video edit or how to record a video from computer or handphone, you can ask me when the session is over. I'll be glad to share with you guys. So the next question that we are being asked is, what if the class size is too big? These are actually questions that's asked by my teachers. So I'll share with you. If the class is too big, we have so many students, right? It'll be very difficult for us to actually facilitate the class. So what I really suggest is that you split and stagger the session. If the session is 1 hour to 1.5 hours, maybe one coach to 10 to 15 is what I would suggest. So we can monitor. On the next clip, we will show you why we do that.
For teachers and coaches, at this point of time, do take note. If the players are training at different venues, do check the screen of every individual to make sure they are safe. So I was lucky enough to identify one of my players is not feeling so well, and I have to stop the training for him. Do take note.
So it is, I think this part is where the teachers have to come in. It's extremely important to understand, above all, the safety is the main concern, the main priority that we want to look into. So while we are running the ECCA, right, despite the fact that we have different venues or they are running in school, there must be moderator to monitor. For coaches, right, some of the constraints that we have, as you can see from on my screen, I was actually using a handphone while recording outside due to the social distancing stuff. So what I do is I only have 4 screens available, as you can see, while using a handphone. Only using a laptop, you can have a gallery view, which will be very difficult for coaches to actually bring a laptop out and to run the lesson. So what we need is the teachers to also come in and help to moderate, to check on the students for their well-being. Okay, let's move on to the next slide.
So during this season, right, I think there's a quote that says that every crisis is an opportunity. So I think that while we are facing a crisis now, it is also an opportunity for us to think creatively how to train our players even while they're at home. So I have 2 words to help frame or shape what I'm going to show you: improvise and incorporate. All right, I'll let the video.
Dodging daggers at almost reach, making mistakes they can never teach. But these silver clouds won't dissolve to black. Let's lose our feet to a leap of faith, and bigger skies are lying wait. It's a long way down, but I got your back. We're out on the
Yep, so like I said, improvising and incorporating different elements into your training program is something that the coaches do need to bear in mind. How can you make the drill more engaging because of the shorter time that you have, and because of limitations, be it in terms of space or equipment? We got to think creatively. And I think what you see in the video is just some ways that you can incorporate and improvise in order to do the same drills, but in a different way, so as to meet the same objective, right? The next question that you might be thinking is, we can't possibly be doing physical or fundamental training all the time. What else can we do? Is it just about ball handling? Is it just about passing to the air? Here's another clip for you all.
Hi teachers and coaches, I'm Coach G. So today, I will tell you another method that we can do. Apart from training the players on court, we can bring it off court. And this is some of the things that we can work on. Using a strategy board, you can actually educate the students on running strategies offensively or strategies defensively. Hi coaches and teachers, so this is one of the examples you can use on the off-court training. Using a strategy board, draw up any diagram on what you want to focus on today, be it offensively or defensively. As you can see, all the magnets are labeled with numbers, so you can assign your students to the particular number that you want them to be in, and from there you can test them on what kind of scenarios and how are they supposed to respond for accountability and understanding of their individual roles.
Yep, so one way is to use the tactics board. I think this is a good time to actually slow down and teach the players how to listen. Listen to tactics, listen to concepts, listen to reason, and that can help build their mind as a player. Apart from this, you can also consider educating them in terms of understanding the referee. What do all the referee symbol mean? What does the thumbs up mean? Why is the referee pointing to the line? So that when they're on court, they know exactly what was the mistake they have made, what was the violation, what was the foul, so that they can improve as a player. Another thing you can possibly do with them is to watch games from other teams, right? So, for example, in this clip that I attached, it's just one possible tactic, that you can help play or let players see that is being run by other teams, right? And then discuss, and then tell them, I can check with them what is needed in order for this play to be successful. So these are different things you can consider doing in your training with the students. The next question is probably interesting, okay, for some of us. What do you actually need in order to run an ECCA? All right. First, you have to ask yourself the question: what is your main objective for that day's training? What is it that you want to do on that day? I think that will very much determine what equipment is needed. But some general equipment, especially during this time, that is very necessary for us to have. You got to ask yourself, which online platform are you going to use? Of course, Zoom is the most popular online app nowadays, but certain schools are not allowing students to use Zoom, right? They are asking students to use Google Hangout, right? And as a coach, one way you can resist all you want, but if it's the school's directive, then I think it's for us to be open to learn something new and tap on other platforms as per what's required. Of course, we can counter suggest, but that's a conversation that we need to have with our teachers, right? Then you do need a laptop or a tablet or a phone that has a camera function. I think it's important that the students can see you as much as you want to see them, so that you can guide them, correct them accordingly. If you have the resources, you can have a tripod, but if not, just anything to stabilize the phone. Because if you are carrying the phone and walking around, it can be quite dizzy, and sometimes the data or the Wi-Fi is not so good. You end up being very choppy to the student. So it's best to put your device in a stationary position while you move yourself. So you need something to stabilize. Personally, I feel that having wireless earphones or speakers will help, because you do need to communicate. And if you are in a wired position, you may find it difficult to move back so that they can see your whole body, find it difficult to hands-free yourself. So these are good to have, okay, good to have. After having this general equipment, you got to decide what is the training program like. Is it about drills or a workout? If so, you need to consider space. If you are at a HDB flat, what can you do, what can you not do? Or would you want to encourage them to head to the multi-story car park so that they have the space and they are free to dribble? Right? These are constraints that I think you can work it out with your students or with the school. Equipment. You yourself definitely need a basketball if you want to demonstrate certain things, cones, and equipment. I believe that we can also request for the school to release some of the school equipment on loan for the students, so that during this period of time, they can at least still hold the ball, dribble the ball, still not lose their ball sense in that sense. If that day is about tactics, you do need a tactical board. If you're familiar, Zoom actually has a whiteboard function. So if you do not have a tactical board, you want to draw on screen, you can actually use Zoom's existing function. Okay, you can even use the annotate functions to circle, right, to draw arrows if you do not have a physical tactic board that you can use. If it's about film review, then my suggestion is you need a laptop, right? You need a laptop so that the playing of the video will be smooth. And again, Zoom has an annotate function, so you can tell them exactly which player you want them to focus on. You can single out whichever player or whichever direction the player is running to, so as to explain better using existing platform and technologies, right? I'll pass the time back to G for question 6.
Okay, as I mentioned, my school, I'm very lucky that they allow us to run a CCA on site. So I think we are one of the few schools that is allowed to run CCA on site. So we already run 2 sessions, and there are certain MOE guidelines that was given to us. So let's see the next clip so you have better understanding. Okay, as you can see, right, there was 2 venues to our session. So what happened is, if we relates to one of the questions that was being asked earlier, what if the class is too big? So what happened was we split up the class, all right? And lucky for me, I have additional coach that we can include for the session. If the coach is alone and do not have any assistant to help him or her, so what you can do is, you can stagger the class as mentioned. So in my case, what we do, we stagger the class. All right, we split the class into 2, and I have 2 coaches attached there. And some of the do's and don'ts are written on the slides, and you can see coaches are required to wear a mask, especially when they are very near to the students. I want you guys to take note. Coaches are not allowed to touch the student. It's a very, very sensitive period. You're not allowed, because for us coaches, basketball coaches especially, and those badminton coaches whatsoever, you will tend to correct their position here and there. We are not allowed to do that. All right. And as you can see, it can be quite a big number for us that day, right? Per session is close to 20 packs. So we really need to stagger them, spread them out evenly. If they are going for water break, you have to dispatch them row by row, so we maintain the social distancing. One of the MOE guideline that we have, which we find out on that day during the first day or practice, they are to only have their own equipment. So for schools that does not have enough equipment, you have to figure out how we can do that. So for teachers, if your school only have 8 basketball, you got 20 players, so maybe you will want to purchase more basketball, or you have to stagger the class as I mentioned, or they have to improvise to use other equipment, so the class can be run smoothly. All right. And for us basketballers, we do passing. Do take note, passing is not allowed because that will be sharing of equipment. So passing is definitely not allowed. And after the whole session is done, we have to disinfect the equipment, and then no gathering of the players. Usually after the training session, we'll gather, we'll hands in on. All these have to be cut. So coaches, these are the do's and don'ts. So do make sure you all adhere to the MOE guideline. Move on to the next slide.
So because this is a sharing session, we are not telling you that this is the way to do it, but we are just sharing with you what we have done. In the same way, you see that we have shown you a lot of videos on some of the things we do with the students. We want to share with you the principles that we bear in mind when we design the program, right? So that we're not just filling the time of the students, but we are trying to get somewhere, right? So the 3 aspects that we want to consider in a training program is the hands, the mind, and the heart, right? The hands is something that all the coaches here, you're all very skilled at, knowing the basic, the advanced, and the elite skill set. And we have been doing that, and that's good. But given this time and age where we have less contact time and less time on the court, we felt that it's a good time to build the mind of the player, the mental strength. And we're talking about game intelligence, learning to make reads, knowing how to respond to a situation, understanding the rules of the game, and even being able to think and respond on their feet. This is something that we wanted to include in our training to build them up. But the last one is, to us, most important, the whole idea of passion. We want our players to develop a love for the game, that it is not just they come, they do, and then bye-bye, or they just follow whatever the coaches say, but they don't know why and they don't grow to love the game. So we hope that as we make the training program engaging and fun for them, they will move from I have to do it to I actually want to do it. And the other key thing we include is values. We hope to share values through the sport. And so that's something we want to impart to our athletes or players as well. So next is a sample 60-minute program, which G will take us through.
Okay, having what heard what Coach Ihan has mentioned, talking about the hands, the mind, and the heart. So having that in mind, right? We design our training program. So actually, for me, right, I have already designed a 30 weeks program for the students. We're not too sure how long this thing will take, but I take it that just as for every school that we bid for, the 30 weeks plan is there. So coaches also can look into that. Teachers also can look into that using what we have, or you can throw in the ideas on your own. So this is just a sample of how it's supposed to be. The whole sequence of the training actually is pretty fast. You can see we check in the players, right? Because it's now with the social distancing and stuff, so it will take some time to gather them, do your head count, do your warm up, and then at the end, right, towards the back, the debrief and sharing, right, we need to disinfect the equipment. So make sure that the training is run smoothly throughout the session. I think that's something that's very important. And when they go back, did they achieve the things that the coach want to work on the day itself? I think this is something that's very important for me as a coach. The accountability for the training got to be there. So that's about it for the training program. So if any coaches need help in designing the training program, can let me know after the session end.
So it's important to have a culture. Now you can see that me and my players are actually having a hands in. This is part of our ritual when every time we end training, we'll have a hands in and then we'll have a cheer before we are dismissed. And then I have my players try to flex on me. And as a coach, you already know I'm one who work hard and I'll be flexing back. I think this is one thing that coaches can look into, to continue to motivate yourself also to keep fit and healthy, so you can motivate and inspire your student to want to go the extra mile. And one of the key things I will emphasize, always have fun.
And yes, I think one of the things for the coaches, right, being sincere in what we do, it's not just about doing a job getting paid. I think this is something that I always look into, because coaching is my passion. I like to share the game, not forgetting that, wanting the student to have fun. So you can see that we have a ritual. So our team is always kept tight. So these are some things that the coaches can look into. Okay, so now we'll open up to the floor. If you have any question, I'll unmute you guys.